in person. I'm in Soledad O'Brien's home, having wine, talking about real life stuff.
But I think it's also like just normal, right? It's just, there was not people getting the wine for us. We were not staffing up, right? We just literally sat on my couch. I got the wine.
I mean, it wasn't normal for me.
No, but I mean, but that's just like that. It's not, I think today, especially on social media, there's just so much kind of fakery around, you know, what something is. I know because I have, with my sister years ago when she was in college, we'd lean across someone's Rolls Royce. This is, you know, way before social media. Like you'd lean and be like, just me in my car. Here I am, take a photo of that, you know. And but I feel like that's social media today. That people are really doing that a lot, and so there's just a lot of fakery out there. So I, you know, I think success is very achievable. It's just a matter of really tracking people down, asking for help, and then getting really specific pieces of advice as you try to navigate your way. I do that to people, right? If I'm trying to, when I started my production company 10 years ago, literally sat down and people would draw on a napkin for me. So here's the structure of our production company. Here's how we do it. So helpful. And I think most people are really willing and able to do that.
No.
You don't think so?
No, most people, absolutely not. I would say that people do love to talk about themselves.
True.
And they do love to share about their wins. I find that there's information you can get on the internet, and then there's like strategy, like real like strategy. Like, for example, when I was in your home, like you were throwing me all types of game, like letting me know the behind the scenes, what I should keep an eye on, what I should look out for, the politics of it all. And that to me, I feel like is only shared when someone genuinely connects with someone else, or they feel like they actually really want to help them out.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel like I've met so many people who were helpful, and not just helpful to me.
Yeah.
You know, we run a little foundation, send girls up to college. Like there's all these women who I think have a lot of good advice and I think are really willing to say, I know you've been given this advice in the past, but actually the real thing is this advice over here. I remember years ago, I was on a panel at NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists, and people were talking about how do you navigate being a mom and being a journalist. And everyone's like, you know, well, when you get pregnant, tell your manager. And I'm like, what? Don't do that. Literally. Yeah. I was pregnant with my twins, and I've always been big. When I'm pregnant, I get a giant. And
like Kim Kardashian giant?
Absolutely. Not as busty, sadly, but yes. And I remember thinking, like, you know, people would say to me, oh, so you have something to say? I'm like, nope. Nope. And I was having twins. They were 7.5 pounds apiece. Like they were big babies. But, you know, like until you're ready, don't share that, right? And just there's some real strategies. So I think you're right. You don't just need someone talking about like, here's what I did. Here's what my wins were last week. It needs to be, here's what I didn't do well. Here's a strategy that I wish I had put into place. Here's what I learned from this really terrible experience so that you don't have to, you know, learn a hard lesson. You can just kind of skate on the thing that I learned. Like, why should we both have to deal with it?
Yeah. And I think that is the secret sauce, right? The kind of surface level talking points that you hear when someone's on a panel. Yes, effective.
I'm good on a panel.
And you are.
I really, because I'm the one who always tells people.
This speaks to your character. Like, you're authentic. Like, you keep it real. You know what I mean? And you also provide the behind the scenes. Not everyone is like that. Especially now, because everybody's worried about getting canceled. Everybody's worried about saying the wrong thing.
See, people say canceled, and I say reaping the fallout, the consequences of your actions. Like, sometimes just being canceled is like, yes, you are a racist, so there you go.
Canceled. Yeah.
Reaping the consequences of being a racist. That's just what happened. You could call it canceled, but I just say consequences.
But then there's some instances where people are like guilty until proven innocent. Like I know, for example, there's been some careers that have been completely tarnished because they were accused of doing something. Then they go through the process. We realize that it was untrue, but that's it. They canceled.
Yeah, but I think that's not a new phenomenon, right? Like that has happened, you know, time in memoriam. That's always been the case. And of course, you know, if you're talking about like legal things, I think people do sort of certainly journalists try to hold off on it, but it's hard, right? It's very hard, especially as news gets more sensationalized generally, right? You suddenly are covering something and the sensational aspect of it versus like no one's ever going to say, good morning, we're not going to cover this because we're just going to wait 6 months till it comes out at trial. Like they're not going to do that. So, you have to really navigate, I think. And not everybody navigates it very well.
You do. Because if anybody follows Soledad on Twitter, you know.
X. It's called X now.
Oh, yeah, it's X. I'm still looking at the icon and I'm like, wait, hold on. What is this? Did I download this? You're pretty, I would say, passionate about things that you care about and are very outspoken and, talk your shit on Twitter, which I love. Have you ever monitored what you said because you were concerned about possibly being canceled or?
I think what I do monitor, and again, I never think about being canceled at all. I just think like, if it's true to me, I think the key for me on social media is to make sure you're not misunderstood. Right? There are just ways in which you could say something. You're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that you would take it this way. That actually, I think, happens more often. Some of the more egregious things online, right there, the person's anti-Semitic or they're like, it's just is what it is. You should not be like kicking the Latinos out of the park kind of thing. Like we've seen, that's just this past week. So I think I don't worry about being canceled, but I do worry like, I wouldn't want anybody to take this the wrong way or to think that I'm saying this when I'm actually saying that. So I try for clarity more than anything. Or you think you're making a joke about something and it's just not funny to some people,
So do you ever think twice before you go out and
always.
tweet?
Oh my gosh, yes. 10 times.
Always. Really? Because you tweet a lot.
I do, but you know what? It's so funny because I tweet a lot, but I'm always like in a car going somewhere or on a plane going somewhere.
So you have a moment to
literally, tons of. But yeah, no, I think it's really unwise to be on social media if you can't manage your emotions and you can't tweet, right? Stop yourself from tweeting and thinking about or whatever they call it now, Xing,
posting. Right? Like what are they going to say now?
It's posting.
Oh,
but but I like. You grow up. And if some people I think are emotional or they get very upset with negative feedback and then they really shouldn't be on social media. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I post too is like dog pictures, horse pictures.
Yes.
Selfies.
Yes, there's balance. There's balance.
So, but I absolutely, I think about everything. But mostly like, is this exactly what I'm trying to say? Is it what I'm trying to say?
And does that come from just your years of training, being a journalist?
And just being a human being who's trying to make sure that, even if you're saying something that's very pointed, direct, and maybe even giving criticism, is it exactly what you're trying to say? That's what's key. I think, just growing up a little.
Yeah.